Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Today, we are joined by Orion Protocol, Stephen, and we're going to talk about the project. We're going to talk about, what is it that they get to Web3 and their killer features. It's going to be an interesting chat with Stephen because Orion Protocol is building and is building a lot of things, be a bull or a bear market. Thank you, Stephen, for joining us. Before we start, it would be great to, hear about your Web3 journey as well.
Sure. My Web3 journey. So I started, I guess, about 5 years ago, just getting interested into Bitcoin and Ethereum. I had heard of Bitcoin before, had never really, you know, looked into it in more details. But then I guess it was in 2017 when Ethereum started to gain a lot of traction. I remember looking at it and starting to do some research, and for literally 2 or 3 days straight, I dug into I researched it very intensely. I thought it was extremely interesting. I was listening to Vitalik and all these new ideas and this new internet being created. I thought it was very interesting, and so yeah, from there I got I was pretty much hooked. I came from a technical background, but it wasn't anything software engineering related. But it was definitely very interesting. And so from there, uh, when I understood Ethereum, I understood how big this space was going to be, how interesting it was going to be, and how valuable it was going to be for to bring new value to the world and pretty much make the world a better place in so many ways. So yeah, after that, began researching a lot of different projects on on a personal level. Invested in a few different projects, always looking for quality projects, looking for like projects that have good fundamentals and that solve real problems in this space. And so eventually I found Orion, and I thought it was extremely interesting. It was basically, the vision is very big. What we have here is pretty big. It's a very ambitious project. It's very hard technically. The the idea sounds amazing. It's just all about execution. So um, there's a lot of different projects out there, a lot of copycats. What we're trying to do is really solve real problems that are in the crypto space, and which are hard to solve, very hard to solve, and that's why no one is really solving them. Yeah, we're trying, and yeah, so I got involved into Orion maybe a year ago, and then more recently, in January, joined the actual team to work at Orion. Yeah.
Super Journey 2017 is where you started. I think we share the same journey experience because yes, I also started in 2017 with investing in BTC and ETH, and that's how the journey began. It's such an interesting journey of yours where you've explored crypto. You've been part of Orion, and now building a protocol. And as you said, that it is a challenging project. Can you just share with us, more about what Orion Protocol is all about, and more so, the kind of challenges that you were talking about in the Web3 that it intends to solve, and how would it do that?
Sure. Sorry. Yeah, sounds good. Orion. So basically, what we're building here is we want to build the single point of access to the entire market. So right now, um, basically the vision here is that you have one place where all the tokens are in one place, where all the chains are in one place, and you can buy tokens from different chains, from different exchanges, and it's very seamless for the user. They don't even realize what's happening behind the scenes, but the idea really is to make it extremely simple for users to buy and trade tokens either on Orion, on our own platform. Our flagship product is Orion Terminal, either on that platform or on third parties. So in like third parties wallets or different exchanges that behind the scene are powered by Orion. So really creating that single point of access to the entire market. So aggregating the liquidity. When we talk about aggregating liquidity, it means basically taking the liquidity from an exchange. And the liquidity is a bunch of buy orders and sell orders. It could be either via an order book format, like centralized exchanges, or an automated market maker from like exchanges like decentralized exchanges like Uniswap or Polygon or QuickSwap. So um, these exchanges have a lot of liquidity, so buy and sell orders on them. What we're trying to do is combine them all together, because this way you'll really have one place where you can, do your purchases. It's like it's like, for example, when you go on Google Flight and you're looking for flights to take, you want to, you go on one platform and it's able to find out the best price for the best flights for whatever you want, uh, by aggregating different sources and different marketplaces. And then for the user, it's very simple. They put what they want, they input what they want, and then the algorithms behind the scenes like really route them towards the best price for that specific flight. So Orion protocol, we're building, the protocol itself is, this liquidity aggregation protocol, where all the value being created in the crypto space right now, in the Web3 space, would flow through. And so it would be basically a connector between different exchanges, different chains. And so currently, you asked about the challenges in the Web3 space. Um, there's a lot of segregation. So there's a lot of different chains. There's a lot of different exchanges. The user always has to like jump around to use different interfaces, to use different exchanges, create new accounts. There's also the question of global accessibility. So some exchanges are not available to all jurisdictions globally. So it puts out some investors don't have access to certain exchanges. So there's that issue of segregation. There's also the issue of security. So um, as many of you here are aware, there's a lot of people carry their own funds on their own wallet, and there's a reason for that. Is because they trust their own hardware wallet more than putting their funds into a centralized entity that's been created a few years ago, that also have their own challenges. So that's also a problem that's in the Web3 space. So there's a few problems here. There's the liquidity that's being separated between different exchanges, different chains. There's different blockchains are being built, and different solutions are being built, and the user always has to switch around between different blockchains. And then there's global accessibility. That's a big issue. And then security. So having keeping ownership of your own tokens by yourself. So which is doable right now. You can have your ledger, your USB key, your hardware wallet. The thing is, and use different decentralized apps. The thing is, all the big liquidity and all the best ways of buying crypto and getting the best prices is on centralized exchanges right now. So what we're trying to do here, and we have done it for a year and a half now that our platform is live, so you can actually have access to Binance and KuCoin and OKX and Ascendex. Like, those are large centralized exchanges. You can now have access to them and buy tokens from there without creating an account, without creating any account on the website. You just plug in your hardware wallet, and then you'll have access to that liquidity. So
Amazing.
yeah. So it's pretty interesting. And now, of course, we integrated Polygon recently. So now Polygon users can have access to all these centralized exchanges, even if and buy tokens from these centralized exchanges. And that's a first, I believe, right? So never before could a Polygon user simply plug in their wallet and then trade directly on centralized order books. So yeah.
All right, amazing. So what does it mean? Does it mean that, as you mentioned about these exchanges like the Binance or OKX and all of them, so there is no need to do the KYC, directly plug in your wallet?
That's correct. Yeah, there's no KYC. So the way that works is, the user simply connects the wallet, and then they have access to Binance or KX and all of those websites without creating any account on any of these websites. The reason why that works is because we're building a decentralized network of brokers. Right now, it's not the full version, the full decentralized version, but we have a selection of brokers that behind the scene they go on these accounts, they go on these centralized exchanges, create accounts, perform KYC, and then via the system they're able to provide the liquidity of those centralized exchanges directly to users, to Orion users.
All right.
And so that's also how we're able to for example, provide Binance liquidity to Americans who don't really like officially have access to the real Binance website.
Absolutely. Yes, that's like amazing advantage that because KYC is making it completely decentralized, where you have uh, and that's the reason why you move to decentralized exchanges, decentralized protocols, and you trade, or you use Uniswap or QuickSwap, and look at trading at those platforms, because of multiple challenges that the centralized exchanges also provide. But as you just mentioned, that you just connect your wallet. So how does this work? I mean, connect your wallet, is that, does that mean that you need to have Orion wallet, or you can use any of MetaMask or any of your wallet? How does that work?
It works with MetaMask, so and there's different wallet options, but it's nothing proprietary. So we're not building our own chain, we're not building our own wallet. We're not building we have our own exchange, but we're aggregating all these exchanges. So you have the option. We'll give the user the choice of wallets, so they can use MetaMask, Ledger, they can use all the QR based wallets. So pretty easy to use.
So any of the wallets, and you connect that. But then how would one know that this is you can connect through your wallet directly to the exchange, which is like associated with Orion? How does that work?
Oh, it's. I wish I could screen share. You basically connect the wallet, and then you'll see it'll look like a centralized exchange. There is an order book, and the user places their trade. It's like there's a swap version, and there's also an order book version of the terminal. So the end user just inputs what they want to buy or sell, and then based on what they have in their own wallet. So if you have some tokens on your MetaMask. Uh, you can simply trade them on a run. You'll see like the exchanges. It's pretty simple to use. Um, you input your values, and then there's a few transactions that need to be signed on your wallet, and then pretty much like using a decentralized exchange, except it's powered by the power of centralized exchanges. And yeah, I would really invite anyone to try it out for themselves. We have if there's any questions, we're happy to answer them at any time. We're always working on improving our UI UX. Obviously, the bigger challenge is the backend stuff, but yeah, the users will simply plug in their wallet, and then they'll see that the wallet is connected. At the top right of the screen, if it's a Polygon user, they simply connect with Polygon. Right now, we have a limited selection of tokens for Polygon users, but you can still buy, for example, Bitcoin. If you go on the terminal, you go on trade in the top left menu, then you select coins that we have. It shows which ones are available on Polygon and which ones are available on other chains. But for example, Ethereum or Bitcoin, if you click on it, you'll see that the exchange is available on. Uh, the liquidity is coming from centralized exchanges, and then you're able to carry the trade only using the Polygon mainnet in a few simple steps.
Yes, and yes, I've actually used this protocol, and as Stephen just mentioned, it is a single point and a very user friendly protocol, or a website to use. So yes, I would also encourage people to explore. And of course, as Stephen mentioned, if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask your questions on the Twitter or Discord, and the team is always super awesome, supportive to answer all the questions that you have. Your feedback is also heard, so that's great. One thing that Stephen, you mentioned is about user friendly and simple. This is what basically is looked out for, even if you are a new user and do not have any background to how DeFi works, or how crypto works, and you just go to the website and just try and understand that. I just read this one statement on your website which says, "We are here to help save time, money, and asset." This is what as an investor, I would definitely look at. So, how does Orion Protocol help these users or investors in this?
To save time, money, and assets, you said. Right. Well, saving time is pretty simple. So instead of going to different exchanges, like theoretically, if a user had wanted to trade something, and especially for larger orders, if they want to trade Bitcoin, and they want to make sure they get the best price, theoretically, they'd have to really go on different exchanges, look at the prices on different exchanges, and then carry the trades on all these different exchanges. Um, that's obviously very a waste of time. It's a big waste of time. And the simpler way is to simply go on Orion, and you'll see like all the centralized exchanges order books being updated at any point of time, and you always see what the best price is. And we're compared to we have a few different there's a few different projects that are trying to achieve what Orion is doing. They're trying to do it. But they're none of them really come close. And one of the big reasons is they don't even have an order book. So when you go on Orion, you can actually see the live order book or the centralized exchanges. You'll see the centralized exchanges logos for every trade, and you're really able to see, all right, at this moment right now the best price is on Orion or on Binance or on KuCoin or on OKX, and it's always updated very quickly. And so when you're trading to get the best price, you'll really save time by simply using Orion instead of going on different exchanges. Same for money. So if you know you're getting the best price, um, why go to a different decentralized exchange to buy Bitcoin, for example, when you know that the best price is on centralized exchanges, right? So if users are using Orion versus using other decentralized exchanges, they're most likely saving money because all the liquidity is on centralized exchanges, which means that these markets are way more efficient, and so they're also easier to to carry trades and faster to carry trades. So they will most of the time have the best prices. So by being the decentralized protocol that offers centralized liquidity in a decentralized fashion, we're able to say that we're really providing best prices to our users compared to other decentralized exchanges. Um, Obviously, we're looking to combine the entire market, so we're also we have quick swap integrated in a limited fashion on Orion right now, but we want to combine decentralized and centralized exchanges. But for the time being, you know, you'll have the best price on Orion most of the time, if not all the time. And so in this way, you save your money. And then saving your assets, basically, yeah, if you're holding your own funds in your own hardware wallet, you own these funds, right? There's been quite a few instances of exchanges and centralized exchanges that have either limited withdrawals or stop trading activities or basically stopping users from having access to their own funds. So on Orion, since you're using your own wallet, just like in the whole Web3 space, you're using your own wallet, you own your funds, you have access, you have custody of your assets. So that's something that isn't available on all these centralized exchanges, but is on Orion, obviously, because it's DeFi and you own your own funds. So that's how we're able to save traders time, money, and assets.
That's interesting to know as well. You have the custody of your assets, but you are also able to enjoy the benefit of getting the best rates, or the prices, like provided by Orion. Where at the back end, there's a lot of work happening to ensure that you get there. Also, Stephen, it would be great to know, as per you, what are these killer features of Orion that makes it, a choice for a user over anybody else or the competition?
Killer feature right now, the killer feature is that we're the only ones that really offer aggregated access to centralized exchanges. So that's right now, I would say the biggest feature really. We're working on different things. We've been working, for example, on margin and lending for quite some time now to have decentralized margin and lending using centralized exchange liquidity. It's pretty complicated but there's been a lot of work on it, and I think that's going to be very interesting when users can actually uh, place like place these calls on Orion using centralized liquidity. It's basically the best of both. You get the access to the large liquidity without the risk associated with that trading practice. Um, of sorry, not the risk, but the risk of centralized exchanges. There's been a few instances of weird things happening with centralized exchanges. We really believe in them and all this, but at the end of the day, we believe the user can trust themselves more than other other centralized entities. So yeah, the killer feature right now really is that we're the only ones that you can buy and trade tokens from different centralized exchanges, even if these centralized exchanges don't support the platform that you're using. So, for example, if a token is listed on KuCoin right now, and that token, when you go on KuCoin, they don't allow you to withdraw it in the Polygon format, in the Matic format. There is a possibility that that same token you'll be able to buy it on KuCoin using Orion and have it in your Polygon wallet, and that's made possible by the integration of our cross-chain bridge to our order book. We basically have this integration where you can buy tokens from other exchanges, even if those exchanges don't support a certain chain. So that's also a pretty neat feature. It's more in the back end, like users won't notice it. Again, it's very seamless, but yeah, that's another feature that's proprietary to Orion right now.
Amazing. And I mean, the another thing, to use the platform, is there a fee structure or the user needs to provide? Can you just throw some light on this as well?
Yeah, sure. It's right now there's a 0.2% or 0.3% fee on top of the trade. So the users actually sees the actual order book from exchanges and with the real prices, and then there's a simple fee that's on top of it. Very comparable to other decentralized exchanges out there.
Okay. Also, as you mentioned, there are a lot of things that is in works, and that is there out for users to use on your platform on Orion protocol. Can you also let us know a bit about the team behind the project, or your supporters of the project as well?
Sure. So the bulk of our team is very technical. So unlike other projects that have like large marketing and business teams, we're focused on the actual technology here, and that's that's why we're building during the bear market. So the bulk of our team is developers. They're led by Alexei Koloskov, who was a leader in the space, leading thinker also in the space. He's one of he was the chief architect behind the Waves DEX back in the day. So one of the I think, I'm not sure if it was the first or one of the first decentralized order book exchanges. So he's led that, and prior to that, he was working in fintech with large banks and institutions, developing technology for them, trading stuff, and so now moving towards the Web3 space, gaining all that experience from the real life stuff, and then with Waves, now we're building Orion. So most of our team is led by Alexei. Obviously, they're more focused in the Russian. They're pretty much all Russian speaking. So we have a lot of Russian speaking developers. Always keen on working with them. Obviously, they speak English also. So we're looking to grow our team a lot more this year. We have done so in the past few months. But we're growing it even further. So if any blockchain developers out there are listening, we're hiring. But yeah, so there's Alexei, and then our business team is pretty decentralized. So we have scattered across Europe and then North America, pretty much, and even a little bit in South America. So we have one person in South America. So yeah, we're pretty decentralized. We have different business development coordinators and marketing coordinators, and yeah, so we're pretty much all across. And then your other question was about our supporters.
Yes, supporters and investors on the project.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. Maybe it's a better question for our CMO Andrew, who gets the statistics from our Twitter and whatnot. But I don't know where our supporters are from, but they seem to be. We have different communities within different areas that are pretty popular, aside from the English communities. So, like, I think there's the Romanian. We have a Turkish community too, Dutch also. So, but we have users from all over the world. Well, we're
Yeah.
also looking to grow more into we're actually revamping our whole website. I'll just touch on that. So we're looking to grow into more Asian countries and like even our website, we want to have it fully translated in at least two different languages to cater to either other communities or to grow our, for example, Russian community. So having that fully translated um, because yeah, so much of our core technical team speaks Russian. It just makes it easier when developers do. And so I know there's a bad stigma about them, but they're all super nice people, and yeah, it's a pleasure working with them.
Right, where well experienced hands the protocol is being built with. And also, it would be interesting to know from you, this integration of Orion protocol and Polygon. What should the community expect and how will they benefit?
What you should expect is that, well, okay, so just to explain, we have currently an integrated Polygon, and you can trade all the centralized exchanges on Polygon, but we also have integrated Quick Swap, so you can also get the Quick Swap prices on Orion. Right now, it's for a limited selection of tokens. There's about 10 or so, but we are looking to expand that selection and expand that Quick Swap uh, token selection. So yeah, right now our developers are really focused on integrating a few different dexes. Uniswap, PancakeSwap, QuickSwap has already been done, and so we're gonna keep pushing to have more tokens available directly on the Polygon version of our terminal, so that really you do get the benefits of using Orion for Polygon users becomes greater and greater, and that eventually will lead ultimately to more volume being traded on Polygon dexes. For example, QuickSwap. The reason for that is because Orion really creates new arbitrage opportunities. So by being able to connect, for example, the prices on QuickSwap to prices on all these other centralized exchanges, we're able to carry arbitrage between these exchanges, and so that was not necessarily possible before Orion connecting to Polygon dexes, but now it is possible. So, and as we add more and more tokens, there will be more and more arbitrage opportunities, and so more and more trades being carried out either manually or by bots running on Orion, and so that will ultimately grow the quick swap volume. And so for users, more tokens, more exchanges. As we grow, we're always looking to add more exchanges as it makes sense and more tokens. And so, yeah, eventually it will simply become really a no-brainer for users to trade on Orion. Once they have like all the tokens that they want to have, and they're a Polygon user, well, there's no reason for them not to use Orion to get the best prices and the best selection and all that.
Yes, and also a seamless experience on
Yes.
the protocol as well. Absolutely. Would you also love to share with our listeners and the community about the future plans of Orion?
Yeah, we have a, like I said before, we haven't touched on everything, but we have a lot of ambitious plans here because we're building the Orion protocol, but on top of it, there are different products that we're building. The flagship product being Orion Terminal, where you actually trade. But right now, our first enterprise product or our first solution is the swap widget, it's basically a simple piece of technology that you can add on your website to allow your users to trade cryptocurrencies. This is already out, but we've been working on on revamping it for the past few weeks. It was out like maybe 2 months ago, and now we've already been redesigning it, and it's going to look even nicer. So we're looking to release that as soon as possible because it is a very simple product that has utility that has caught the interest of different websites that we're working with, but it needed some improvements, so we're focused on that right now. We're also focused on all the Uniswap like dexes. So, like I mentioned before, Polygon, QuickSwap, PancakeSwap, Uniswap, all of those. Our devs have been working hard at it. It's taking time, but it's coming together. There's a lot that needs to be done in the back end that had to be done, that has been doing done. Now there's a lot of testing happening. So there's a lot of, you know, this is what our focus on is right now to give like even more tokens available on Orion, more liquidity coming from decentralized sources. So a lot of these exchanges are similar in nature, but they're all still different. So a lot of work needs to be done. But so we're focused on that, and then also focusing on our volume growth, obviously. So we're working right now. We're still working with another blockchain to integrate into their official wallet, so that traders can really use a different wallet and use like swaps on that wallet without even knowing that behind the scenes the trades are carried out by Orion. So we're working with that. It's like a major project, working towards them integrating Orion, and then the next step after that will be we have another interesting partnership that is also a large exchange, basically a large exchange that wants to utilize Orion protocol liquidity. So on their decentralized exchange that they've just built. So yeah, working with them behind the scenes, these are more back-end integrations with third parties, but it's just to show that we are getting a lot of interest from large parties who are seeing the interest of using Orion, because it provides really the best liquidity and best prices, and it can work in the back end without the user even knowing that they're using Orion. It works in the back end to provide third parties access to centralized liquidity, basically. So so these are, I would say, our focuses. We've also been working on margin and lending, like I said before, and working on our new website as well. There's a few different initiatives here and there, but I would say those are our main focuses right now.
Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say there's a lot. It's very exciting. There's a lot happening behind the scene. I know it sometimes looks like long, especially during a bear market, but we're building. There's a lot of marketing happening. Like we're trying to educate our audience. So our marketing team is fantastic. They've been like pushing out a lot of content every day just to keep our community educated and know what's happening. So there's a lot happening. It's just everything takes time, especially for proprietary technology like this. We're doing our best to do it as fast as possible, but there's always a lot of technical challenges, and so but it is very exciting what the future holds.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing with us about Orion protocol, and of course about how it is going to benefit the users ultimately, and how it's going to make a seamless experience for the new and the experienced DeFi users, that you spoke about. It's an interesting project, and of course we are opening now for a Q&A with Stephane. If you have any questions related to Orion protocol, please hit in a speaker request. We will get you up. And yes, today we have an opportunity to ask about Orion protocol to Stephane. So please go ahead and hit in the speaker request.
Yeah, I'm glad to answer any questions that anyone has right now.
Yeah, we're just waiting for anybody to come and to hit the speaker request to ask the question. Please go ahead. Yes. Doueihi, do you have any question for Stephane?
Yeah. So in the future, could you see a point where the deep liquidity that Orion could provide, let's say it's across all blockchains and all exchanges, where the Orion protocol would be used just to provide the best price to users on whatever platform they're using, rather than signing on to the Orion Terminal?
Basically, if instead of using Orion Terminal, they would simply use other exchanges or other apps.
Yeah. So you went on before to talk about how a new partner was coming on that would use the Orion backend to provide price feeds.
Yep.
In the future, do you see that just being across all platforms, or any platform that opts in, let's say like any exchange, and they just use Orion?
Yeah, Absolutely. That's actually the first, when I first heard about Orion, like that's the big vision here, that eventually all the different apps that you're using, all the different exchanges that you're using, that traders are using, or whatever, simple crypto users, it will become, I believe it will become a marketing play where all platforms are fighting for different users. But in the back end, like the vision here is that really Orion is the leading protocol where all these different apps are and exchanges are connected to each other, so that the liquidity is the same across exchanges. And so it's interesting because that's the vision that we have, internally, and that we talk about. But we're starting to see, for example, that we're getting a lot of interest from large organizations that are pretty important in this space, but also a bit scared of Orion because they feel like they're competing with us, even though we're not. We say we don't compete with the exchanges; we actually complete them, because we connect them, and it's a very win-win situation where we can provide them more volume, and they provide more volume on their platform, and obviously we get access to their liquidity. But there will be a point where, like right now, like a lot of large centralized exchanges, we talked to a few of them on a regular basis, but some of them, I'm trying to say how I could word this, but they've, they are the powerful entities in the crypto space right now. Like they have all the users, they have all the liquidity, they're the ones making a lot of profits during bear market, bull market, whatever, even though it doesn't look like it. But yes, like they're the ones like making all the money basically right now in the crypto space, and they can have a very superior attitude. But we've had a interesting conversation recently with exchanges that they really told us that they don't want to talk about Orion or anything because they're scared they're going to lose users to it, and they understand how big this is, especially because we have already 4 centralized exchanges with us, and so and it was a major exchange, and they're almost scared of it. But I think there will become there will be a point in time where they will have to use Orion because we will have so much more liquidity available that it will make no sense for them or any exchange really to not use Orion. Like when it's almost as if they will become irrelevant if they don't use this piece of technology that everyone else is using, but they're not using, right? So as more and more exchanges are onboarded on Orion, and as more blockchains also are onboarded or integrated on Orion, it will become more and more of a no-brainer. And 95% of the time right now, when we talk about Orion to different partners and projects, they get it and they want to use it, and it's just a matter of figuring out how the technicals and how it could work. Right now, I forgot to mention, our big focus is the SDK that we have, the software development kit. I believe that's the biggest key here, because if we have that right, and you can track it on GitHub, there's been like updates every week for the past like, I don't know, 2-3 months, because it is a focus of ours, increasing documentation. That SDK, which provides access to Orion's liquidity in the backend that can be used by developers to access Orion, is very, very, very key here. So we've been working on it and working with different. We're looking to work with different partners because the vision here is really that in the future there will be different UIs, different apps, different marketplaces where you can go and trade and buy whatever NFTs, tokens, and all that. The big vision here is that in the back end, Orion will be that piece of technology connecting everything together. Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, that's the whole reason I got into Orion. Really, I'm very impressed with what you've achieved so far. But like for me, the end product is global liquidity provided by Orion Protocol, and that's really what I see. And as you said, it benefits everyone, not just the peer-to-peer side of it, but exchanges as well. You said it completes them, and it really does. When Orion's at full capacity in the future, I'm very excited for it, and I think everyone else should be.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's pretty encouraging. So yeah, as I said before, like we're working with a large centralized exchange right now. They want to utilize our liquidity on their decks at first, maybe not the centralized exchange, but eventually, we'll get there. We're building everything, all the pieces of the puzzle, and yeah, it's very, very exciting to see how it's going to develop. Thanks for your question. Great question, by the way.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate the work you guys are doing.
Any other questions?
Yeah, we do have. Joseph, do you want to take your question for Orion Protocol?
Yes, please. Yeah, thanks ever so much. Hello, Stephane. Absolutely huge fan of Orion. Been a long-term holder now. I think the technology is absolutely brilliant, and we've got a really fantastic future. Just a couple of points about the white label decks that you mentioned. You touched on a little bit earlier. So, from my understanding, one of the major kind of barriers so far to get that up and running is the UI update. I just wondered whether you can clarify whether that is the case, and is our next steps for that white label decks to improve the UI. And once the UI is updated, and then kind of the centralized exchange and the decentralized exchanges we've got on board, they are ready to go and start that white label decks process moving forward. I thought the other person who just spoke was excellent and has exactly the same vision that I have for Orion. And I think we've got a really bright future.
Yeah, great question. Nice to meet you, by the way. Like, I always see you on the chats and whatnot, so glad that we're speaking. For the white label decks right now, yeah, like you said, it was a big. We have a major partner that wants to use it. It was just not. It just had to be improved on several different points. Mostly UI UX. There's different other things too, but it's mostly UI UX. Right now, we've been hiring a lot of front end developers. We've had like a few challenges in the past few months with working with the external developers or front-end developers, UI UX. Right now, we've hired internal front-end developers that have been focused for in the short term on the widget. So they're very close on releasing this new version that you'll see is a very different. It looks better, basically. It looks better. It feels better. It looks like a more modern product. It will, and we're hoping that community will see that this is the new direction that we're going towards. That's the small widget, and then after that, it's funny that you mentioned this because like just this week we had an internal conversation. What's the next focus? Obviously, the next focus for the UI UX is the terminal. It's just that it's because if the terminal looks and feels more better and is easier to use for the users, then of course centralized exchanges that we're talking to will be more interested in using it. It's not like, yes, we have a major partner, but it's not locked in. Like, we still have to convince them and show them the final product, and it needs to be perfect. We're talking here about like major exchanges. Maybe a better strategy, honestly, would be to go for smaller platforms that could afford in a way to have a UI UX that's not flawless. Like, nothing wrong with our current UI UX. It's just the level that we're talking here is pretty high. So we're actually in talks with another exchange right now that also wants to use it. It's just talks. It's nothing confirmed. But they are very interested. They're the same ones that are using our liquidity for their own swap decentralized swap thing. But yeah, we're seeing some traction. We just really need to improve the UI UX amongst other things. But we understand it is a big product of ours, and it will bring volume. The UI UX, we haven't been focused on that right now. Like for different business reasons, we've been focusing on the widget as a first smaller product that can be done independently from the terminal, because the terminal is a big piece of machine that is really works hand in hand with the protocol, and there's always changes to it. And from a front end perspective, it's just a bigger piece of technology that's hard to change. But right now, like that should be our main focus. We're having internal discussions right now on how exactly to do this, because we all agree that it could use a better UI UX experience. And so once we have that, and that becomes our new focus, then it'll be the transition to the white label DEX, which is basically a copy of the trading terminal, will be faster. We already have a working DEX, like it's been said in the past, and it's like a proof of concept, and with different colors and a different scheme tailored to that large centralized exchange. But that unfortunately has not been released because there's a whole bunch of improvements that need to be done to it. So yeah, we're it's not like we forgot about it. It's just it's there, and it should be our new focus. Hopefully, from a UI UX perspective in the very short term. In the near short term, yeah.
Brilliant. Thanks ever so much, and it's great to meet you too. Take care.
Yep. Thanks.
Thanks, Joseph. We have the last question from Myla. Do you want to take your question?
Hello, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
My question, I am curious to know how to you have been able to survive and continue building and developing despite to current market solve.
So I think the question is how we're able to build in this market sentiment, in this
Yes.
bear market. Yes.
Yes.
I mean, it's very simple. We still have the same passion and we still have the same financial abilities to do so. So we're continuing to build as if there was nothing. We're not tied to the price of any token, really. So we're able to build. As simple as that. We're actually hiring too. Like we're growing our team. It's not like we're reducing. We're growing our team. There should be a post that come out soon that looking for different positions here. But we're in a solid position where we can build during this bear market, and so when things pick back up, we'll be in a very, very solid position.
All right. Thank you, Stephen, for your time today to talk to our community and talk about Orion, taking us through the entire protocol and its features and how it's going to support everybody. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today for this interesting chat with Orion Protocol.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bublieth,
Thank
for
you. Eid
hosting
Mubarak.
this.
Advance Eid Mubarak, ma'am. All advance Eid Mubarak.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, Bublieth. Yeah. And thanks
Thank you
everyone
so
for listening in.
Thank you, everyone, and yes, take care, stay safe, and here's your host Bublieth signing off. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Eid Mubarak all. Thank you. Good night.